3, 4, 2.
What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. If you're an 80s kid like me, you're probably a fan of Terminator, and you'd think that film would have taught a lesson to the future generations to not build robots, because like in the movie, they will turn on you. So anyway, I saw this interesting breaking news is that a Tesla robot attacked an engineer at a company's Texas factory during a violent malfunction, leaving a trail of blood, quote unquote, and forcing workers to hit emergency shutdown button. Yeah. Dude, did y'all not learn anything from the O'Connors? You know, leave the robots alone, right? These things are very, very, the future where you got AI, robots, very, very grim future, man. We're going to be fighting these robots. Anyway, check out this headline here. Study. Humans contributing to global warming by breathing. Stop breathing, you peasants. Well, how do you fix that? Any guesses? Maybe something they did a few years ago, reduce the populace. Anyway, yeah. So Christmas a few days ago, and I saw the weirdest thing, the most unpredictable thing that I've seen this year, and honestly, I don't know how to take it. Kevin Spacey and Tucker Carlson released a very weird, strange, bizarre video slamming the 2024 elections and the TV show House of Cards. Apparently, this is some kind of Christmas Eve tradition that Kevin Spacey's had, where he posts these bizarre videos of himself acting in the House of Cards character Frank Underwood. But this year, he did it alongside Tucker Carlson. This is posted on X. Now, these two discuss, obviously, Netflix and the 2024 U.S. Presidential election. But this House of Cards, if you didn't know, was one of the most popular shows on Netflix when it launched in 2013. And it was one of their first original streaming series. Now, Kevin Spacey played a power-hungry U.S. President, Frank Underwood, until season 6. Now, Frank Underwood was also from my state, the character was. So when he was fired after season 6, they actually killed off his character, but he was facing sexual misconduct allegations. He denied the accusations, and in 2022 is found not liable in a sexual battery lawsuit in New York. In 2023, he was cleared of sexual assault charges in UK trial. Now, I'm going to touch back over that in a second. Now, I do want to show you some clips and pieces of this video so you can see for yourself. Let's go ahead and play it.
Begun yet, and it does.
Go ahead and skip here.
Cycle, and that's my question for you.
Well, that's really a decision for the people, Tucker. It's not something that I really think about or want to do. And Merry Christmas to you too.
So apparently this is something that he does in his character Frank Underwood. He breaks fourth wall, which is a thing actors use. Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell used to do it too, where he would talk to the audience.
But I've always believed that nothing should be off the table in life or in art. I think we could both agree that we need to get some adults back in the room. So if that means taking on the chief executive role, well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for this great nation.
And here he's talking about that he would be maybe a potential 2024 presidential run. Now, I don't know if he's talking, in character, because Tucker asked him during this, are you in character? And he says, I'm a little bit of both. So I don't know if he's serious about this. I mean, I would highly doubt that he would, but you never know what these crazy elites may try to pull with Joe Biden failing in the races.
Adults in the room. I love it. I could see it as a bumper sticker. Is that your campaign slogan?
Well, that's not a bad idea. Look, I think first our country needs to stop apologizing and stiffen up. I mean, look, we got so many people running around with so many different issues. So he remains in character
as Frank Underwood for the whole 7-minute interview with Tucker Carlson. And again, suggesting that he would run for president. Here he goes on to say that I think we both can agree we need to get some adults back in the room. So if that means taking on the chief executive role, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for this nation. Our country needs to stop apologizing and stiffen up. We have so many people running with so many different issues like gun control, but let's be honest, more people are killed by online trolls every day. Carlson then asked him what he thought of the 2024 presidential candidates who already dropped out of the race. And he says, "This is a little bit like jumping in the jacuzzi with a boner," Spacey responded. "You know, it ain't going to last forever." So I wasn't surprised with Mike, a little too pensive, dropped out of the right away. So we'll skip for a little bit.
How we can help anyone anymore because we can't agree who needs help. I mean, what doesn't come with a trigger warning these days? I mean, Tucker, we are far too close to having a beanbag chair in the Oval Office. We coddle to everybody. Okay, you think you're a rabbit, that's fine. But let me tell you something. You sure as hell aren't going to see someone walking through my White House in bunny ears and a tail unless it's Easter.
Well, amen. But how do you think we got here in the first place?
Fear, fear, and then some more fear. That's been the consistent theme, fear. And that's why I'm going to keep saying we need to get some adults back in the room.
Sounds like you're running. If you did run, I assume it would be as an independent.
Well, I've always been independent my whole life, no matter what my party affiliation, even though at the moment I don't quite recognize my old party.
So at what point would you get in if you did?
Well, I think there's time. I've never been afraid to show up a little late for the dance.
But lots of people want to be president. What would you specifically bring that others aren't?
Well, I think I have a long and very solid relationship with the public. And that's a bond that has never been.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously in character because he doesn't, you know. So it's he says on, you know, it's bizarre that they'd be willing to cut ties with him just on allegations alone. And he said allegations that have now been proven false. But, you know, I'm going to pull this down for a second, but could it be that all of his accusers wound up dead, right? Look at these here. Report: Kevin Spacey accuser Linda Culkin dead after being struck by a car. Massage therapist suing Kevin Spacey for sexual assault dies ahead of trial. Kevin Spacey won't face criminal charges in groping case after accuser's death. Kevin Spacey's accuser dies by suicide day after actor posts "Kill Them with Kindness" video. Yeah, so that video was a Christmas Eve video as well, that "Kill Them with Kindness." I think that was his first one as Frank Underwood, and this is when they just had killed off his character. So yeah, his all his accusers wound up dying. So of course he's not gonna. Of course these allegations would be proven false. There's no more victims, right? He goes on to talk about, for the candidates that's still running, Spacey said, "I like Vivek, drain the Ramaswamy, and Nikki Haley's tough. She's no doubt learned a thing or two from watching me. But I think in the end, we need someone in the White House who's not afraid, like me, not afraid to push our country or a journalist in the right direction if it comes to that." Spacey continued referencing a scene in House of Cards where Underwood pushes a journalist in front of a train before she had a chance to expose his wrongdoing. So again, very odd, because when he talks about, you know, Tucker asked him, "Are you in character?" And he's like, somewhat not.
Been broken. I mean, I've almost felt like I can
Actually,
oh yes, we both got canned by our network.
true, but they actually tried to kill you.
So then he was talking about here that Tucker and him were both canned by their network, you know, trying to get some commonality between them.
Yes, but here we are, Tucker, bigger than ever.
So looking back on all the drama, do you think that legacy media played a role in what happened to you?
Look, I think they're trying to do their best to stay relevant. Look, platforms like X, I mean, you move information around so quick that everybody else.
So yeah, they go on to dog out traditional media, legacy media, and talk about social media. And he goes to say that, you know, that legacy media needs to act more like social media and things like that, or report it with facts instead of just, you know, opinions like they become, or news that's not really news. It's more biased propaganda, which I don't disagree with that at all. But, you know, this whole thing with these two makes me question a lot. You know, I've always liked Tucker Carlson, but this was the odd one for me. I don't get it. You know, I don't know if he just did this for shock value. I wouldn't do it for shock value, because we've been talking about the Epstein client list is supposed to be released here in a few weeks. Now, I doubt that's going to happen. We will see. I just don't have confidence in it, because I don't think these elites will ever let their names get out there. But I saw this headline. This was from the 20th, December 20th. Breaking: Stephen King and Kevin Spacey say they will leave the United States if the Epstein client list is released. So how do you say that you wrote on the Lolita Express without saying it? That's it. Obviously, they're going to leave the U.S. If it's released. So my question is, like, again, I like Tucker Carlson in the past, and I don't get why would Tucker have a non-pedo on there on his program. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. Maybe it was a shock value, maybe because it was Christmas Eve, and that's something that Kevin Spacey's typically done for years now. I don't know. I just really don't get it, and I would love to know your thoughts on it. That's really why I'm making this video, because it took me off guard, and I just don't know what to think. It doesn't make me feel good, to say the least. I just don't really know what to think. Like I said, I've liked Tucker Carlson before, but this is just one of those very unusual things. And again, maybe a shock value, in which case, whatever, but I still wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't have Kevin Spacey. And, I don't know if you know this, but like whenever he went after Trump, right? He went after Trump very hard on some late night TV shows. And then immediately after, all his juiciness came out. Now, I think I did a video on that back during that time. And I'd speculate that maybe Trump had something to do with it, that he knew people that got that information out to go ahead and, because that's how you do it. You kill the source off. If you want to have people, talking smack, you go ahead and kill their credibility. So anyhow, guys, I do appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. I do want you to share your thoughts with me, because again, it took me off guard. Let me know in the comments below, and remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay